Right, so I'm now going to pull a handle. Sue's got jugs for handles to go on, and I
Do you want us to do it on a jug?
No.
You're up in the ante there, are you?
Well, I thought you pulled it in situ.
No, I don't, because if you do that, you'll end up with a handle that's got an excessive amount of taper. It tends not to look very good. So what you do is you pull it first from a lump of clay, and then you squeeze that first towards the size you want, so that you're not spending a lot of time pulling it out. So pulling handles is really just the same as you're doing really with lifting clay when you're throwing, is that you're putting your fingers together and then moving them up the clay, and they're acting very much like an extruder. The clay can only pass through the gap that you allow it. And you're aiming to make an oval section that feels good in the hand, but also because it's thin on the edges, it looks a lot lighter than it is where it's thicker in the middle. So it's a visual thing as well. I mean, you can have round handles, but they will look very much heavier than a handle that's got an oval cross section. And you need to do it up high, so at eye level, partly just so you can see what you're doing, but you pull more straight. It's down here you'll tend to pull them.
Maybe it's because of the joist.
You tend to get that lump on there and just cut that off from time to time.
So,
Doing this
can you put it directly on, or do you want to fry it like you do on the
No, I'll show you. I'll put handles on my water bowl or something else. And what I tend to do then is I'm just going to have to use Julie's board here. I put them onto a board, like so, and then just cut them like that so that you get a good clean cut on the end of the board. So that's then ready to go straight onto the pot. And in the days when I would be was still pulling handles, I might have 25 or 50 jugs for the handles to go on. So I would pull 50 handles. And keep on going on like that till just do one more. And just like anything else, it's a skill, and you need to practice a skill to get good at it. So even if you've got one jug, you probably should make 30 handles just to get in the swing of it.
Do you know what you'll do today then?
Actually, I must have told you.
nice a jug.
That as a student, we had these cupboards that were also served as a blackboard, and we would pull handles by the hundred to get. Right. So the next thing is you have your jug to hand. This is my jug. And I just very slightly, just cap that so it just very slightly turns over. I score my pot, I then put my handle on, and the trick is just doing a wiggle so that the clay surfaces knit together. So
I want my handle to blend in with the shape of the band around the top of the
so you
jug.
just put it right on, so that the high point of that rim is in the middle of the handle, so that these corners lead out into that. And then if I had a board of handles, I would do that on the whole board, stick it on the top, park it on the bottom, do that all the way along
Before they go on the...
before I then finish them. And this is again this business of getting in the swing of it. You know, much better than sticking on and joining the bottom of each one. So on a jug then I would pick the jug up, and really it should be the right size now. All you're doing here is just getting a good line. So we're going to just wiggle around that joint and then just so it's got a good line. And then onto the pot. And there are lots of different ways of finishing these. My favourite still these days is just that push in so it's attached. Don't go too thick. The danger always is that at the point here where it is actually joined to the pot, people push too much and that bit is very thin. So they may have a well joined bit here and a good strong handle, but it's very weak through that joint. So you just push enough that that's well joined, and then the way I like to finish them is just nipping them off like so. But I'll do another one with another. I get accused by other potters of making thin handles.
Like a handle makes the pot feel lighter when you pick it up. Maybe not to look at.
You're blind.
I don't know,
Interesting how aesthetics would change in
those
that
jugs
long
you've got to
time.
spend, you know, when you pick them up, they feel quite light. I think a lot of that's to do with the handle, the way that's and they're very, very well effort.
Right, so on this handle, having just stuck it a bit there, and pinch that at the top. And then using those two fingers together, I just taper this bit. And then roll it up. So it makes that kind of finish on the bottom, which it can just simply be decorative, but if you put that onto a mug handle, a small mug handle, this outer finger then sits very comfortably in there. So it actually has a practical use in that sense. But and there are loads of different other ways of finishing handles as well. These are just 3 ways of finishing the bottom of the handle. If on a jug where the handle is a bit heavy, often it's a good idea to stand them upside down and let the handle dry, so it maintains that good dry there and there's not a tendency for it to droop. Okay, and get them on earlier rather than late. You know, if the pot's already shrunk and you've got a handle on that's wet and it then tries to shrink, it's going to actually have to change shape. Sometimes people make handles that are too long and then they have a tendency to crack there because of the length of them. There's more to shrink. If they're more curved, that curve can accommodate the shrinkage and then they're less likely to crack and dry. Okay. Talking about things being